Thank you all for your presence, and my sincerest gratitude to the Women's Visionary Congress for having me here today. So by the time I learned about this year's theme, I already knew what I wanted to talk about. So you can imagine the excitement that I felt when I realized how easily I could fit my talk into the theme of the year. All I really needed was a catchy introduction to hook you all in and set the stage. And here it is. My journey through academia, beginning with biology, neuroscience, and Western medicine, and culminating in psychology, philosophy, and metaphysics, has been, at its roots, an attempt from my rational, intellectual mind to grasp and comprehend experiences that go beyond the ordinary, be they through expanded states of consciousness, through spiritual experiences, or intuitive knowing. My current PhD work at the California Institute of Integral Studies sits at the intersection of philosophy, cosmology, and consciousness. And it is focused on the metaphysics that has come out of Stan Grof's work with LSD psychotherapy, and later with holotropic breath work, once psychedelics were criminalized. So it would make sense for me to come here and talk to you about my dissertation, what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, why I'm doing it, what I've found so far. But rather than telling you all of that, I would like to show you, by taking us on an intuitive journey through myth and imagination, because before reason can take the stage and weave a coherent narrative of the evolutionary emergence of the divine through the individual, there is intuition, dancing through the imaginal, bridging the gap between subjective and objective experience, and allowing us to feel rather than know the cosmos. So today I would like to draw from the ancient art of storytelling to guide us through a modern myth centered around the relationship of the sun, the earth, and its inhabitants as they come together to co-create the experience of a sunset. Now, when I speak of myth, it might be easy to fall into the modern understanding of it as mere fantasy. After all, Western history has shown us that once reason came onto the scene and began to understand the world through a rational and logical understanding, myth lost its power of revelation. Our old myths were no longer able to compete with our new scientific understanding of the world. And as a result, myth and imagination were cast aside and no longer valued for their ability to grant us a sense of the cosmos. And as reason dominated our ways of knowing, mainstream modernity came to understand consciousness as a byproduct of the material world, with our inner subjective experiences being understood as a mere reflection and internalization of an external objective reality. However, the dawn of the 20th century brought with it a shift in this view of the world. Modern psychology introduced us to the notion of the unconscious, and even the collective unconscious, opening us up to the notion of an objective experience nestled within our objective, an objective experience nestled within our psyches. On the other side, in modern physics, quantum mechanics brought attention to the role of the subject and the subjective observer nested within the external world. Various thinkers and philosophers of our time have called for a bridge between our external and internal experiences and realities. Rather than seeing one as a reflection of the other, they ask us to understand both of them as two sides of the same underlying existence. With this understanding, myth is not mere child play, childlike fantasy, only to be outgrown and discarded, but it is a process of emergence through which the divine first comes to know itself. And the role of reason is not to overshadow intuition, but rather they are meant to form a co-creative relationship to help guide the cosmic awakening of the divine through us. And I like to think that all of you here are at some stage of dismantling this mainstream and outdated view of the world, and are reframing your experiences and your relationship to the other, to the unconscious, the collective unconscious, to your bodies, to nature, the earth and the earth community, to the cosmos as a whole, and may I even say, to God. God as that ultimate existence that permeates all of life, creation, and cosmos, that seeps through time, space, history, humanity, that stands in awe of itself through us and our experiences. About 5 decades ago, the philosopher and ecologist Thomas Berry called for a new story, a new myth, drawing from our modern scientific understanding of the world to help us re-permeate the cosmos with a sense of the sacred, and allowing us to restructure our relationship with the world around us. And so this mythic rendering that I would like to share with you stands at the intersection of intuition and reason, drawing from our modern scientific understanding of the relationship between the sun and the earth, and arrived at through an intuitive feeling that allows this story to be understood as an allegory for the relationship of the divine to creation, the cosmos, and individuals. A relationship through which the divine comes into self-actualization and self-realization within each and every one of us. But before I begin this story, I would like to give a disclaimer to the rational mind. While this new myth draws heavily from our modern scientific understanding of the workings of the world, it is not perfect. This story arrived first and foremost through intuitive imagination. So please forgive me any scientific misgivings, as this work is one of myth and imagination held within a philosophical context, and not one of science and astronomy. But I invite any of you who has a more comprehensive understanding of the workings of the cosmos to lend your rational knowledge to intuition and to imagination, and to expand on this mythic allegory and our felt sense of the divine cosmos and our place within it. So let us begin. If it feels comfortable for you, go ahead and close your eyes. If you would prefer, you can soften your gaze and go inwards. We will start with a few deep breaths to help us center ourselves and move out of our thinking minds and into our hearts, from where we will begin our journey. The breath bridges the gap between the mind and the body. It is both controlled by our conscious mind, and at the same time, it is out of its control, run autonomically by the unconscious body. This is why it functions as such a powerful tool for synchronizing the mind and the body, consciousness and the unconscious. So let's begin by taking a few deep breaths together. And as we do, try to slow down the rhythm of your breathing into a nice, comfortable pace, slightly deeper and slower than it normally is. So let's all breathe out. And take a deep, slow breath in and hold it at the top. And slowly breathe out. Breathe in. And out. One more breath in. And out. Now continue to breathe deeply and slowly at your own pace. Feel your body. Feel the stability of your spine as it holds you up. If your feet are on the ground, be aware of the earth beneath you. If you're seated, feel your sitting bones as they make contact with the chair or the cushion. If there is any tension in your body, use your breath to release it. Use your inhalation to breathe into the tension. And as you breathe out, allow it to melt and float out of your body with your breath. Now as you breathe in, bring your attention behind your eyes. And in a moment, we will use the breath to slowly move down into our bodies. With each inhalation, keep your attention where you last left it, allowing the muscles in that area to relax. And with each exhalation, Let your attention slowly move down lower with it towards your heart. Beginning with the eyes. Breathe in. And out, moving into the nose. Breathe into the nose. And out into the cheeks. Now down to the jaw. Into the ears, the back of the ears, running down into the neck, the sides, the front, the back. Into the shoulders, down the arms into the hands, and back up the arms into the shoulders and the clavicle. Breathe out and run down the back into the upper back and the chest. If it feels natural, run down into the lower back and the stomach. Take a moment here and breathe into your abdomen. With the next breath, come back up into the chest and breathe into the space between your heart and your lungs, allowing it to expand. Now settle into your heart. And as you listen to me, try and maintain this heart-centered awareness and only use a fraction of it to pay attention to me. And try and maintain the slow and deep breath that you have settled into. Now imagine yourself standing on a cliff, overseeing the sun setting over the ocean. The weather is at perfect temperature. A gentle breeze runs through the air, rustling through the trees. Listen to the sound of the waves as they crash over the rocks. As the sun hovers over the horizon, the once blue sky filled with colors and clouds of many shapes takes on a myriad of colors, various shapes and depths of yellow, orange, pink, purple. Around you, birds are singing, flying from one branch to the other, celebrating the setting sun with their attention and their songs. Take a few breaths here and take in this scene. These magnificent colors, sounds, and sensations that are only available to you after a 13 plus billion year cosmic process, over 4 billion years of earthly existence, and a 3 plus billion year evolutionary journey of life, resulting in vision, hearing, physical and emotional sensations, and our ability to consciously observe our time here and now. Now, as you stand in awe of the magnificence of this scene, I invite you to take on a different perspective, that of the earth. Here, you notice that 180 degrees from this glorious sunset is a sunrise. After all, the earth moves at the speed of the earth. From this view, there is always a sunrise, and there is always a sunset somewhere on the planet. What changes are the landscapes, the hills, the plains, the forests and deserts, the birds and the insects, the foxes and the rodents, the fish, dolphins and whales. What change are the individuals, the particulars, all with their own unique way of celebrating the setting and rising sun. With dance, with song and music, with poetry and love. For the earth, the sun always rises and sets, but the serenation and the celebration changes as it ripples around its surface. Take that in. the ever-spinning earth, and the everlasting serenation of the sun by its inhabitants. Now let's take another perspective, that of the sun. Residing outside of the Earth's atmosphere, standing stationary in relationship to the Earth. Take on the point of view of the sun as it looks onto the Earth. As we know from Einstein's theory of relativity, any particle traveling at the speed of light experiences no time or space. So we can imagine that while the Earth resides inside of space-time, the sun's light, existing outside of our atmosphere, with no particles to interact with, to slow it down, does not experience time and space. So while for the Earth's inhabitants, the sun rises and sets once a day, and for the Earth, there is always a sunrise and a sunset. For the sun, there is only ever light. The Earth spins both on its axis and around the sun, and as it spins, it offers up different parts of itself to the light. But from the view of the sun, the Earth's face is always in the light. And as the Earth spins and offers its various surfaces and inhabitants to the light of the sun hears the serenation rippling through the Earth as its inhabitants experience a sunrise or a sunset. And wanting so desperately to experience this divine relationship that leads to this glorious celebration, the sun throws itself into the atmosphere, entering into relationship with it, and in doing so, entering time and space. Here, each photon begins in the same timeless and spaceless existence outside of the atmosphere. But once it has entered the atmosphere, and with it time and space, it finds itself at various points of the history of the planet, being transmuted through its interaction with the Earth and its inhabitants, taking on whatever needed role, depending on which part of the Earth's process it has entered into, contributing to the development of the Earth, the creation of life, and participating within life's evolution, turning into energy, sustenance, color, warmth. Eventually, some of the photons of light find themselves within you, standing on that hill, overviewing the sunset. Some having taken the length of evolution to arrive in that moment. Others having only now entered into time and space to contribute to your life and your experience. And at that moment, when all of these various photons come together to interact with the spinning Earth and its inhabitants, and to form your experience of the sunset. The sun, having once stood outside of time and space, looks back onto itself and says, "Wow, that is beautiful." Go ahead and open your eyes. This new story, as Thomas Berry might call it, having risen out of the modern scientific understanding of the cosmos, in union with an intuitive, experiential embodiment of the story, functions as an allegory for the relationship between the divine and individuals. In the same way that the sun must throw itself into time and space and participate fully within creation and evolution to know itself, the divine, once standing outside of space-time, throws itself into creation so that it can first evolve the world and its particulars, and later embody their experiences in an act of self-knowing. Within this simultaneously developmental and evolutionary process, as creation gains various means of experiencing its inner and outer worlds, so does the divine come into fuller and fuller experience of itself. Within this view, psyche, matter, spirit, body, these are not distinct. Here, our beings, with all of their complexities, are a fractal repetition of the organic, cosmic, divine being that we are all a part of, and to whose evolution and development we contribute. And as many of you here may have experienced, either in your ordinary experiences or through various forms of expanded states, this divine being, this ever-awakening existence, having traveled the evolutionary length of creation, looks back upon itself through your experience and says, "Wow, I am beautiful." Thank you.